Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, Meredith. I believe you're the only one in the gallery, as well as Jeremy. First resolution, be it resolved that notice of absence submitted by Council Member Foster regarding the regular meeting of Council held this 28th day of September 2021 shall be accepted as received. Do we have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded by Councillor Kushner. All in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this 28th day of September 2021 shall be adopted as presented. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Wills. Is the agenda okay with everyone?
Couple points. Two actually. The first, 3 o'clock this afternoon, I still couldn't find the agenda. Was it out previously and I missed it, or was it really not out yet at 3 o'clock this afternoon?
It was out on Friday, I think.
I logged into AllNet, it doesn't show. It only shows September 14th. There were no emails. There was nothing indicating there was an agenda for me at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
So even when you went through menus?
Yeah, because I could find the other agendas. I could see the special meeting, the 14th meeting, but there was no 28th.
Yeah.
And at 6 p.m. it was there. But at 3 o'clock, and I've checked Friday, I checked Saturday, I checked Sunday. I emailed this morning that I couldn't find it. No one responded to that. At 3 o'clock there was still no agenda, and at 6 o'clock there was. So did anybody else see it before then? Or was it?
I saw it, I think Friday it was sent out, or was it Monday? Today's Tuesday, maybe it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was available. There was an update done at 11 o'clock this morning and sent out.
So
there was another update this afternoon, so it's always live.
So how, like, was there a reason why I can't see it until tonight? So I was logged in and it showed me everything else we do, but it would not show me this at all. Or was there a reason why no one would respond to my email either, but why I couldn't see it? It's very difficult when you're trying to represent the people of the municipality to not have the agenda until an hour before the meeting. Because my responsibility to do a good job as a councillor is to know what's on the agenda on Friday when it's supposed to be out, and to look through the things and find out if there's anything to seek information on or check law on or know anything about. And when I have 60 minutes notice on an agenda, it's incredibly difficult to do my job properly. That's my first concern. The second concern I have, I gave notice of motion under section 14 last meeting. I see it's listed there again under section 14. That's not the correct place for that. It should be under general business. I'd suggest moving it before 7.1 on the general business. And the reason I suggest that is, again, we see 7.1 looks like it's an attempt to take me off council. So this would be the second time that council votes to remove me from council before they actually hear my motion. Last time this happened, council spoke specifically about how unfortunate it was that I wasn't here to speak to my own motion because I'd already been removed. So my suggestion to avoid that would be to put my motion before the point on the agenda you intend to remove me from council again. So would that be all right with everybody to move it up so we could actually talk about it before I'm removed?
Anyone have an issue with that?
I don't have an issue with that.
I don't.
No, we'll just put it down there and we'll just change it afterwards. We can just deal with it first under 1421.
Okay, anything else? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting held September 14th, 2021 be adopted as presented. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushner, Seconded by Councillor Wills. Any errors or omissions? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Any public works report? Okay, we are now dealing then with 14.1. The resolution reads, whereas the town of Swan River has not accepted our latest offer for a 4-year agreement in the amount of $358,000 for the first year, $383,000 for the second year, $383,000 for the third year, and $408,000 for the fourth year. And whereas the town of Swan River has provided a letter to the Municipality of Swan Valley West stating that the negotiations for shared/purchases services have come to an impasse and fire protection services will be terminated, as well as other service will be on a tier basis for the residents of the municipality. Therefore be it resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West, in order to continue fire protection services to the ratepayers of the municipality, will expand the current municipal fire department to cover all areas of Swan Valley West by establishing a second fire hall, including all required equipment and volunteers. Be it further resolved that Council approves the purchase of a fire truck to suit our needs as a municipality as per the quote provided at the September 7th, 2021 special meeting of Council.
You want me to speak to why I brought it forward for reconsideration?
Have a mover first, please.
What are we moving? Because I'm not moving what you just read.
You're not moving that.
No, because you read an old resolution. I would move a
That's the one
resolution to...
that you want repealed, no?
Yes, so I would move a resolution to repeal that, but I'm certainly not going to move it to agree that we buy a fire truck. Like, there should be a resolution here that says, whereas Councillor Gade has given a notice of motion to repeal Resolution 2021-114, therefore be it resolved that Resolution 2021-114 be repealed, rescinded, married, something that we would agree to in that whole.
The notice of motion said to review
Or rescind.
or rescind, so
So we should have a resolution here to.
you'll have to tell us which one you want to do.
Well, I'd like to have a discussion with council, see if there's some changes we could make to make it better, or if we should rescind it, because I certainly would appreciate the input of the group on that. If that's all right. I can give
Or
the
do you
reasons.
just want to add to this resolution?
Well,
And whereas Councillor Gade has filed a motion to, is it not working? Has filed notice of motion to repeal the above.
normally what we would do is, you know, we could have discussion first or after, I guess that's the decision of council, but we would bring forth a resolution that says, whereas Councillor Gade has provided written notice of motion to review or repeal this, be it resolved that we review it or append it or whatever. That's why I'd like to have the discussion first, so we could decide exactly what it should say. And we might find there's not an appetite at council to do anything, which is fine too, but I don't want to presume to speak for council and say repeal if because we could make some amendments and make it better. So I don't know what you'd like me to do, but if you could give some direction of where you'd like me to go, I'll certainly go there for you.
Well, I think that if we added on to this
Okay, but I'm
particular
not
resolution,
willing to make a resolution that says we buy a fire truck and then add a line onto it, because that's not procedure. This is already passed and done.
You tell us, you're the one that's given the
So
notice of
are
motion.
we okay with having a discussion first?
Generally, you have a mover and a seconder, and then you open the floor to discussion.
Then I would move a motion that whereas Councillor Gade gave written notice to rescind or revise Resolution 2021-114, be it resolved that council, I'd still like to leave a blank there like we usually do, so we could have the discussion and then decide what we're doing and vote on it. If we can't leave a blank, I would put rescind, but I would like to leave the option of council to have that discussion, the motion.
Are we allowed to question the motion?
Whereas council gave notice of motion to review or rescind 114.
2021-114.
For council. Review. Or rescind. Motion. 2021-114.
Got it?
Yep.
Do you want to read it out then?
Whereas council gave notice of motion to review or rescind Resolution 2021-114, therefore council will review or rescind motion 2021-114.
Okay, mover please.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councillor Gade. Seconder?
Doesn't necessarily mean you support it, we can just
You have
actually
a
have a
seconder?
discussion then. If somebody would second it, we could still vote it down, but we could discuss it.
Do we have a
I'll
seconder?
second it to get the conversation
Thank you,
out.
I appreciate that. So it's all right, I'd like to speak to it for now. So I brought this forward tonight because I think we have some defects in our first motion. And there's a couple different options of what we could do here. And I want to look at what I think the defects are, how we could resolve them, present some options of what we could do. And if anybody finds agreement with that, I would entertain amending that resolution to instead say what we wanted to change rather than rescind it. I think that would be the ultimate goal here, is make changes. So in our resolution, we approved the purchase of a fire truck, which was certainly council's thinking at that time. It's been several weeks now, 3 weeks. We haven't made a lot of progress towards actually establishing a fire department. We don't have a fire hall, as far as I know, no plans for one yet, no quotes have come back. There's certainly nothing on the agenda tonight to discuss actually doing anything about building a fire hall to put a fire truck in, which would be concerning to have a fire truck with no place to keep it. The next issue is that upon review of the Emergency Equipment Reserve Fund, we don't have enough money in the reserve fund to purchase a fire truck. So we would have to pull those funds from someplace else. To do that legally, we would have to hold a public hearing to revise our financial plan for 2021. So I think it would be unfortunate for us to have a resolution on the books purchasing a fire truck when we haven't yet gone through the steps to authorize the spending for that fire truck from anywhere. And a public hearing certainly is something that would need to be held if we're taking that money from anything other than emergency equipment reserve. Last check, I think there was about $32,000 there, which would leave us short about $280,000 for purchasing this fire truck. So we need to do something about that. And more recently, I understand that prior to our last council meeting, the town of Swan River made an offer to go to mediation with us to see if there would be an opportunity for us to resolve our impasse in negotiations. And certainly, as good neighbors, that would be something we should do, I would think. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, and I won't speculate upon it, council wasn't necessarily informed of the offer of mediation at our last meeting. So I would like us to consider going to mediation. And lastly, I understand that even since our last meeting, the town of Swan River has been gracious enough to make us a new offer. And they've actually made us an offer, which is essentially the offer we had made them. So to me, it doesn't even appear there's necessarily an impasse at this point, because they have come back with essentially accepting by different wording, but the amount of money is essentially the same. The only discussion I think would be left is if it's for 2 years or 4 years, but they've made an offer, we could accept that offer tonight and put to bed once and for all the fire protection issue and have 2 years to work on this, well, a year really, because the first year is for 2021, then we have 2022. And council could make a decision with a lot more time on its hands as to what's best for our residents. So for all of those reasons, I'd like to see us either revise this to say we'll only investigate a fire department, or remove it completely, so we don't have something on the books saying we're purchasing a fire truck. Because this is probably premature with the information we have now. And it may have been the best decision that night, you know. I'm not suggesting that with what was available that night, council made their own decision, but we have more information available now, and perhaps better information and better options for our municipalities. So would anybody, obviously comments on that, but would anybody support changing what I proposed there to be revise this or do something with this other than leave this on the books?
I'd just like to comment. One, I find it very upsetting that you're saying the town has graciously accepted our offer when they haven't.
Well, I want to be clear, they made an offer exactly the same as ours, essentially.
No, they did not.
What was different
They've
about it?
excluded year one, for one. They've changed it from 4 to 2. That isn't the offer that was made.
What do you mean they excluded year one? I'm confused about that.
Year one was not 383.
I guess they took the average of what we offered, was that?
Exactly. But that's not what we offered.
Well,
And to say that they're graciously accepting our, giving us an 11% discount, they're still 20,000 over what they asked in 19. I'm making it like they're doing us a favor. When we made that offer, they didn't even want to talk to us. 10 minutes and they threw us out the door.
so I think I want to clarify one thing.
If I could just interject here. There are plans, I can acknowledge, to meet with the town again. And we're getting into numbers again, and I believe in confidentiality, even though the town does not. So I would suggest that we no longer discuss specific numbers in open.
Well, they're in the public, so.
I know they are, but just because a neighbor jumps into the lake,
No,
you don't have.
I don't want to do that, but those numbers are out there and the town is saying they're accepting our offer. That wasn't our offer.
So I
The
did,
town did not say that. Councillor Gade said
well,
that.
what Councillor Gade said was the town graciously made us a new offer. And the reason I chose those words, and I'll explain why I chose them, because I know they're causing some tension. My understanding of what happened was that when we presented this offer, the town asked us to present it in writing, and we didn't do that. We then gave them some time to think about it, and they asked again for it to be in writing, and I can only go with what I've been told by the town negotiator. We didn't present the offer in writing for them to review, so they weren't able to look at it. They asked us to present an offer, we didn't do that. They then declared an impasse when we wouldn't present an offer, which is probably a fair thing if they asked for an offer after making one, we didn't make one. So they have now sent a new offer to us, and I'm glad they did that because somebody had to make a move to try to resolve this. And this council may not feel that that's an appropriate offer, even though it's averaged the same amount as we wanted it to be. But they did make us an offer, and negotiations do get to go again. I don't think we should be purchasing a fire truck when we have a very real opportunity to settle with the town of Swan River, have the fire protection we have in place now, and if we need to go down the path of making a new fire department, or need to go down the path of making some other changes, it would buy us all of next year to do that, without having October and November and a part of December to try and establish a new fire department with a building, with everything else. I am not confident that in 3 months we could do that, and I'm not confident that's the best decision for us to look at. You know, the town has reminded us all that they have made several offers for 2 of our members to join their budget deliberations, so that we would have direct input on the expenditures of the fire department, the pool, all of the other contentious issues. So far as yet, we haven't taken them up on that, but I would suggest it would be a great time for us to send 2 of our people to their deliberations so we have direct input on what's going on in the town. If we're concerned about the value of it, we're concerned about the price of it, the time to be doing that would be a budget deliberation, so we could actually have some input and change those numbers. We have yet to tell the town what's wrong with the numbers other than they're too high. Whereas they have presented, I've only seen it in public, I've never seen it at this council meeting. Never presented to me at this council has been the paperwork that the town has released publicly. Their claim is, we have it here. I've certainly never seen it. I had to download it from their website. And on their website, it details chapter and verse of what everything we're charged for is, how those are figured out, all of that. I don't think we should have a resolution on the books to buy a fire truck if we have a real, honest to goodness chance of settling this with the town of Swan River. It could be settled tonight if we took their offer. If we wish to negotiate with them some more, it could be settled in a few days once we have a negotiating session and call a special meeting. Why would we, if we're negotiating in good faith, be negotiating with a gun over their head saying we've already got a resolution to buy a fire truck? There's other defects with it. We can't actually do this without a public hearing that we haven't held. So this resolution itself isn't valid. To me, the best thing would be take it back, finish these negotiations, let's give it a good go, see if we can actually resolve this. And if we can't resolve it, and it's this council's decision that we absolutely can't resolve it, then let's bring a resolution to hold the public hearing. And after the public hearing, we can buy a fire truck if that's what this council feels is best. But let's do it the right way. And let's not say to the town, well, we're buying a fire truck.
Any other? Go ahead.
I have two questions in this. You're telling us that they've offered us all this stuff. Is that from a person that is on the negotiating committee?
I understand it is.
Yes. Okay.
I think I read some details of it possibly in the Star and Times as well.
Yeah. So you're deeming that's accurate?
I am deeming that's accurate. I've never had anyone here tell me, so I'll ask the question. Is it untrue that they've offered us a chance to be in budget deliberations? Because if it's untrue, I would like to know that. I assume it's true because I don't assume they lie. But if it's untrue, we should say it's untrue.
They have offered to let us sit and listen, not participate, was what my gathering was. I've been in all those meetings. And the second question I have to ask, and I've been asked this by people in the last 2 weeks, is to ask you if you're on this council or the town of Swan River. Because you really seem to support the town of Swan River.
So I am on this council, at least for however many minutes I may remain here, because I see the next resolution is to remove me again. But this particular moment, I am on this council. I support the people of Swan Valley West, the residents, the ratepayers here, the landowners, but I also look at the bigger picture. It is impossible for me at this time to see a reason why there would be two fire halls 1.48 miles away from each other. And I look at not just Swan Valley West, but what's best for this entire valley. Because this valley doesn't exist just as Swan Valley West. If Swan Valley West stands alone without the town of Swan River, or without our other municipal partners, we've lost, and there'll be nothing left of this valley. This is one Swan River Valley. We must work together. We must work with these people.
And vice versa, is what I'm gonna say.
Which is good, but I cannot right now say we should have two fire halls a mile and a half
I'm to the
apart.
point where I'm tired of the town pretending that they have done nothing wrong, when a lot of this is because of the town.
And
I sit on that committee,
I think they have done wrong also.
so
I think nobody is an angel here, nobody is a saint.
I think we've gone around the circuit once and we're starting the second time around.
So just one more comment. Just because that resolution says we can does not mean we have to.
This is how a resolution is written to buy a fire truck. It says we approve the purchase of a fire truck. So, yes, it does.
and to be honest with you, I'm okay.
James,
Absolutely.
would you need us to pass anything else to buy a fire truck, or is this enough to buy a fire truck?
It's enough to buy a fire truck, but it does
There you go.
not require you to buy a fire truck.
Believe it or not.
You would love to see the opportunity for the last truck available to slip away so that you could get your way with your friends on the town council.
So have we bought a fire truck?
No.
No, according to
Even though you told
Facebook, we
everybody we
did,
had.
but
I'm asking the question because I'd like to know. From my
Okay,
understanding, this gives
we're
us
ready
permission
to call
buy a
the
fire truck.
question.
So is anyone interested in amending the resolution to something more agreeable to everybody? Is there anything we could agree on? I would like a recorded vote then, please.
Okay. All those in favor of Councillor Gade's resolution, moved by Councillor Gade, seconded by Councillor Wills. And you can read the resolution again if you will.
Whereas Councillor Gade gave notice of motion to review or rescind Resolution 2021-114, therefore council will review or rescind motion 2021-114.
Okay, we have a request for a recorded vote. Councillor Gade.
Yes.
You want to read them down or do you want
I've got it, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Wills.
No.
Councillor Pierrepont.
No.
Councillor Kushner.
No.
Councillor Blosha.
No.
And no for me. The resolution is defeated. Okay, 7.1. 7.2 is, no, 7.1, Code of Conduct Appeal Number 1 was delivered today at 4:30 or thereabouts. So have you had a chance to review that? The resolution reads, whereas the Council of Swan Valley West verifies they have received and reviewed the Municipal Code of Conduct Appeals Director's report, and whereas the Council accepts the report as presented in full. Therefore be it resolved that Bill Gade is in breach of Code of Conduct, Council Code of Conduct, and the sanctions are upheld as defined in Resolution Number 024 dated May 25th, 2021, effective immediately. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushner. Seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So I have a couple questions, I have some comments. I'm going to do the comments first, and then, presuming I read the room right, I have a couple questions I'd like answered, so I'll do some clarity. So I received this report today. I did receive it in spite of not being able to access the agenda until 6 p.m., so I was able to review it for a couple hours and look at it. And at 6 p.m. I was able to see the resolution that's proposed. It says, my reading of the resolution is that this report agrees with the sanctions. That isn't how I actually read this report. If you look under paragraph 4, it says I'm neither able or not able to either quash or confirm the sanctions. So this report does not confirm the sanctions. It does not say to council the sanctions should be upheld. It actually gives several pages of written detail as to the reason why they weren't able to confirm or quash the sanctions. So I think it's a little presumptuous of our council to assume that this means that the sanctions are upheld, when the report clearly says they're not able to confirm the sanctions. What the regulation requires is that on appeal, the appeals director quashes or confirms. They aren't quashed, they haven't gone away, but they also are not confirmed.
So where does it go, Councillor Gade? It defaults to the position that it was when you appealed.
Actually, it doesn't.
Well, actually it does.
Well, sir, so if you could stop interrupting, I would support my argument. So under the actual regulations relating to this, it states that the sanctions are suspended until the appeal is dealt with. The appeal is not yet dealt with because they weren't able to confirm them or quash them, but instead said the matter needs to go to Queen's Bench Court for judicial review. The appeal is not done. The matter now must go to Queen's Bench Court for judicial review. Now, I did speak to somebody about how long that process would take, and they assure me it would be longer than 60 days. So it wouldn't serve to make very much sense that I would be suspended again while we wait for the second part to go ahead and the judicial review to happen, when that decision can't be reached until after the 60 days is over. Because at that point, what would be the point of finishing the appeal process if I served the entire penalty anyway, only to be told at the end of it, conceivably, no, you shouldn't have served the penalty, but it's too late now. Nothing here says they confirmed the sanctions. Our resolution suggests they did. It does go on in pages here, and I'm sure you've all had a chance to review it, to note that council breached the regulations of the appeal, did not follow the rules that were required for council to answer the appeal, which is unfortunate, and that was a finding of the appeal process. It goes on to speak at length about the issues with procedural fairness or the lack thereof, the fact that step by step, from the inception of the complaint to the adjudication of the complaint, to the assigning of sanctions, to the appeals process, and even here tonight, a person that's in complete conflict with the process is in the middle of it, and urging counsel on. The fact that Mr. Galloway is even speaking to it tonight and telling me what he thinks it means when it's his complaint, that itself I find to be a conflict. Because it should be the determination of this council what this report says, not the determination of the person who purportedly wrote the complaint and who didn't submit it.
And who is speaking against the finding?
I'm speaking
You are the
very clearly
the
about what this
respondent,
says.
and you're speaking on behalf of.
I'm reading what this says. I'm not able to quash or confirm the sanctions. Our resolution suggesting the sanctions have been confirmed.
The last page, it says, therefore, where council members appealing a sanction imposed upon them by their council involved with issues of procedural fairness, as in the case here, such matters must be resolved applying for judicial review of Court of Queen's Bench. They cannot be addressed seeking remedy. So
Exactly. I agree, which means
we've met all the requirements within the code of conduct.
you haven't actually.
This and its interpretation, and there's a lot of information here from Councillor Gade that he gave, and he's exposing that that's a truth in this report, but it's used as reference material only. So it's outside the code of conduct, and so everything in the code of conduct says that it's done. It wasn't appealed properly, so that's why we go ahead with the accepting the sanctions. And the Court of Queen's Bench is not involved in the code of conduct. It's a personal thing between Gade and whoever he wants it to be.
So, as respectful as I can be, you could not be more incorrect. The Queen's Bench Judicial Review has nothing to do with a personal thing between me and Reeve Galloway. It specifically speaks to that being part of this appeal process, that this matter must be resolved, the appeal, by a judicial review of Manitoba Court of Queen's Bench. On the front page, it specifically says the sanctions are not confirmed. If it said, I confirm the sanctions, I would not be arguing here. The sanctions be confirmed. It does not say the sanctions are confirmed.
The appeal-
It says, again, you're speaking, you're cutting me off, and I'd appreciate if you didn't do that. It says, this matter must be resolved by applying for judicial review of Manitoba Court of Queen's Bench.
So
Which the whole thing says, until the appeal is resolved, the sanctions are suspended. And I do note that you said very clearly that council's done every single thing they needed to do. That is a lie. Council must by resolution, this is section 10.2 of the regulations, must by resolution direct its municipality to provide the following to the appeals director. No resolution was passed to this council.
None was
council-
asked for in the
The
first.
thing specifically says, if you can't read and follow the rules, I don't know why you're sitting at this table.
the thing is that following the rules is for everybody, not just for the rest of council. It's
So
for
why wouldn't
everybody.
you council
So
actually do it?
when you speak in public, you talk about following the rules. When you're here at the table and a part of another life, you don't follow the rules. So the problem here is that he can't approve, he
You've been
can't,
served. Thank you.
he can be, this note is garbage.
You've
So-
also been served.
So,
You've been served.
You can use it for whatever.
You've been served.
so the thing
You've been
is
served,
that I am
you've been
not
served.
either able to squash or confirm, and what that is the appeal was not done properly, as usual. There was tried to be sidestepped, more information and distractions within the argument that has nothing to do with the code of conduct, and the appeals director says, sorry, it's outside of the realm of code of conduct. So it's done.
So
We
for
put
the
through this
record,
resolution.
what I've served council with is notice of defamation. Because moments ago, Mr. Webb again defamed me at a council meeting. You'll find when you review the record, those statements were defamatory. The notice gives other statements that were also defamatory. That is what this is. There's no question and no discussion later of what the Gade served them. It's a notice of action for defamation. It is not a statement of claim, which is a difference. You guys will surely review that with your lawyer.
Okay. You
So I have a
had
couple
requested
questions.
Your 5 minutes is up.
Okay, I have a couple questions.
5 minutes is
I would like a
Yeah.
recorded vote. The questions
Like a
are,
recorded vote.
Five
We will
minutes.
do that.
right,
And you are voting?
so my questions were, last time we did this, it said suspended immediately. I took that to mean what it said. I left the meeting because it said I was suspended. We have a resolution on the books that says only council and Mr. Bergen can be in chambers. Once
Where
I'm
do we have
suspended,
that resolution?
you passed it. Just go back in the minutes, you'll find it. It says that the public will not be allowed in here. And then there's a second resolution allowing Mr. Bergen to be here. The moment this is passed and I'm suspended, I understand myself to be a member of the public. Our current resolutions are that I would then have to leave. But after I left last time, there was major discussion about that. It was suggested at the meeting after I left that perhaps I shouldn't have. So I would like council to clarify, this again says suspended immediately. My view is that means I'm suspended immediately. Should this pass in a moment, I would then leave the meeting.
You have the legal mind here, obviously, so you interpret it as you wish.
So I would
I
like,
will now call for the vote. Councillor
would
Gade.
like the chair to actually answer the question.
Councillor Gade.
And what's the resolution again, sorry? To pass it? I don't vote to pass it, so no.
So you said no?
I said no.
Councillor Wills.
Abstain. I don't really know which side to go with here, so I'm abstaining.
The act or the
No, 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 no,
explanation.
no, no. Follow the rules. You asked for the next vote.
Quiet or you will be removed.
You do not get to speak and tell him what to do. You're about
I
to
am
tell him how to
not-
vote. You're not going to do that. You're not going to tell them how to vote.
I'm
You're
not
going to just say,
telling
Councillor
anyone how to
Pierrepont,
vote.
Councillor
Councillor
Kushner."
Gade, you're out of order.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I would appreciate if you would just do what our
Councillor
procedure
Pierrepont.
bylaw says and let them vote.
Yes.
Councillor Kushner.
Yes.
Councillor Blosha.
Yes.
And yes for myself. I declare the motion carried.
Do you have half plus one?
Pardon?
Do you have half plus one?
Do I have half plus one?
Yes. Under the rules, do you have for that resolution half, which would be 3.5 plus one?
Yes.
Do you have 4.5 votes? A minimum of 4.5 votes to carry that.
What
I
do
didn't
you
count
get,
that.
4.5?
I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. You need 5. I think you just lost it.
The motion
defeated.
is carried.
Check the rules. This is a code of
You
conduct
actually
motion,
voted no.
right?
There are
I don't
6
know.
people.
You voted.
Half plus 1 is 4, Councillor Gade.
We're 7 people on this council. Half is 3.5 plus 1 would be 4.5. We need 5.
Of those present,
You show me that in writing.
you show me it in writing.
I'm telling you it exists. Why don't you go check?
The motion is carried. We are moving on.
I'm
Enough
afraid
distraction.
it wasn't carried.
Next resolution, be it resolved that the Urban Animal Control Officer's report for August 2021 be received by council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West. Be it further resolved that payment for the above services be approved as submitted. The mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha.
I'll second it.
Do we have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
You are no longer sitting as a councillor, Councillor Gade.
So you're telling me I should leave?
Seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any discussion? You are no longer a councillor.
You wouldn't even go and check the rules. I would like to discuss the motion.
All in favor? That is carried.
Is it your intention to ignore me the entire night? I take the definite
There
silence.
shall be
Yes.
no voices from those that are not represented at the table.
So does that mean I'm a member of the public?
You heard what I said.
I would like you to answer the question. The question's still outstanding. We have a resolution that says no member of the public except Jeremy Bergen to be here. If you see me as a member of the public, I would gladly leave. If I'm a member of this council, I'll stay. Which is it? Am I on council right now or not?
No, you have been
So then I must
relieved of
leave?
your duties.
So I'm a member of the public and I must leave, is that correct?
You make the call. I am not about to tell you.
Are you going to let me participate in the meeting in any way?
You can't. You're relieved of your duties as a councillor.
So
You've been suspended.
So I'm relieved of all of my duties.
You are relieved of the duties of a council member, especially when it comes to a meeting.
I take that to mean I'm now a member of the public, so thank you very much. It's
Well-
been a good evening. For those of you that threw away your service, you may want to find it back and speak to your lawyer. Good evening.
Next resolution. Be it resolved that a public hearing shall be held on October 26, 2021 at 7:10 p.m. for the purpose of receiving presentations from those who may be interested in regards to the request for a variance order increasing the maximum site area from 10 acres to 20.34 acres within the AG zone on the property known as the southwest 1/4 of 43728W. Be it further resolved that all necessary advertising, mailing, and posting of the notice for said hearing shall be made in accordance with the Planning Act. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Kushnerek. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor? It is carried. Okay, move on to section 8. Next resolution. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. General Cheques number 17236 to 17260 in the amount of $80,613.86. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Pierrepont. Any questions on the checklist? If not, all in favor? It's carried. Eight point two, payroll checks. Here we go. Next resolution, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. Payroll payments number 3808 to 3822 in the amount of $20,663.38. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Kushnerek. Any questions on that? Not all in favor? That is carried. Anything for discussion or correspondence, unfinished business? Brings us to committee reports then. Councillor Blosha.
I had a Health Foundation meeting yesterday, an LUD meeting last week, Fire Committee meeting, and an HR meeting.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kushnerek.
Fire committee meeting and transportation meeting.
Okay, thank you. you. Councillor Pierrepont?
I had a fire commission meeting, an HR meeting, and a shared services meeting with the co-op and Spruce Products.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wills?
Transportation Committee, Fire Protection Committee, and an HR committee meeting as well.
Say that again.
Transportation,
Transportation, yeah.
Fire Committee,
Fire, yeah.
and an HR.
And myself, I attended a fire committee meeting, transport meeting. A RISE meeting was called and then canceled. So we didn't actually attend that one. Business leaders meeting with the co-op and Spruce Products. Airport commission meeting. HR committee. And I attended the AGM of the Canadian Mental Health Association. Did you get all that?
Yes.
What about yourself, Mr. Webb?
All right, I did a fire, shared services, and HR. For the sake of my writing, I'll read this out for the Reeve.
Okay.
Is it a shorthand?
Be it further resolved that we do hereby accept the following verbal reports regarding council committees and communications.
Councillor Kushner was Fire Committee and Transportation Committee. Councillor Blosha was Health Foundation, LUD, Fire Committee and HR Committee. Councillor Wills was Transportation, Fire Committee and HR meeting. Pierrepont, Councillor Pierrepont was Fire, HR and Shared Services. Reeve Galloway was Fire, Transportation. The RISE meeting was cancelled. I met with business leaders, met with the Airport Commission, HR Committee, and the AGM of the CMHA. And for myself, CAO was Fire Committee, Shared Services, and HR.
Okay, do we have a mover for the resolution? Moved by Councillor Kushner,
I'll second it.
second by Councillor Blosha. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, we have come to the point on our agenda where we will entertain a question or a comment on any items that are on the agenda.
Good evening, Reeve. It might be a moot point now, but I left the museum at 3 o'clock this afternoon, which would have put me at the municipal office for the RM by 3:30, and the agenda was on the counter at that time. I didn't even have to ask them to go find it.
Okay. I think Councillor Gade was referring to the emailed.
Well, he was just trying to make a big to-do about not getting it, and it was out there.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other question or comment?
You guys have worked hard tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Bergen.
Can you confirm if you have passed a check for the purchase of a fire truck yet?
Have we which?
Have you passed a check for the purchase of a fire truck yet?
Have we passed the check?
We haven't wrote a check for the fire truck.
We haven't written a check yet, no.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
Debbie and
If not, thank you, Meredith. You were riding alone there tonight.
Yeah, what happened? 20 last week and only me tonight?
No,
Thank you for attending. I can't answer that question, but thank you very much for attending.
I realize realize that.
We
Good
appreciate
night,
it.
everybody. Take
Good night.
care.
Night.
Okay, we will call a brief recess before we go back to the remaining part of the agenda. Back, resolutions, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 4 of the Municipal Act, this meeting shall be reopened to the public. Moved by Councillor Will, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. All in favor? That's carried.
Comments gone.
Which one was it?
Brigade's posters, no comments.
Because it's under Kushner's.
We shared it.
Okay, anything further from anyone? Not, be it resolved that this meeting shall now adjourn at 9:16 PM. Be it further resolved, next meeting is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, 7 PM. Mover?
Glen Foster.
Councillor Will, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. All in favor? It's carried.